Okay, so my name is Jesse, and we have Mark here. Mark, will you introduce yourself, your name, and your age?
My name is Mark Meller. I'm 73 years old.
Okay, and what I'd like to inquire about, why don't you tell us the story of how you came across finding out that you have ALS?
Okay. My wife died about 3 years ago now.
Okay.
And about just prior to her death, I noticed that it was getting harder for me to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I'd walk the dog,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to be very careful with my right foot
Mm-hmm.
that it cleared the cracks in the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And which kind of concerned me.
Uh-huh.
But my immediate attention was on my wife, so I didn't really bring it up to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Feel free to take as many breaths and breaks as you need. I don't want you to
Okay.
feel like you have to overwork yourself.
Oh, that's fine. And so anyway, my wife finally passed, and then I thought, well, I better pay attention to myself here and see what the heck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going. I don't know if we're supposed to do this or not. Name particular hospitals. Now, okay, so I went to a particular hospital, and where our doctor was associated. That our doctor was associated with, and I'm losing my train of thought here. Oh yeah, and said, "Well, this is what I'm experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
That my right leg is not. If I'm walking on the sidewalk, walking the dog, etc., got to be very careful that I consciously lift that foot because it's getting harder and harder for me to do it,
Mm-hmm.
without thinking about it."
Mm-hmm.
And then, so he did some initial tests, and he began to suspect right away what it was,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, he couldn't quite agree with my doctor on it.
Okay.
And so, okay, so I went to a different facility and got their opinion on the topic. And that doctor was of the opinion, yeah, ALS is probably the main thing we ought to be looking at here. But again, nobody was willing to commit to it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to yet another doctor. Now, she was pretty sharp.
Mm-hmm.
She was a sharp cookie. And within a visit or two, she said, "I'm certain that's what you got."
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest that you go to this other hospital
Mm-hmm.
that has a clinic specifically devoted to that.
Okay.
And that's when they went and they first had one doctor examine me, give me physical tests and mental tests
Okay.
and things of that nature. And he came to a conclusion. But they didn't just rely on his conclusion. They brought a completely different doctor, went through the same examination again, and he came to the same conclusion. And these guys are, ELS experts, and if two of them agreed on the topic, well, that's probably what it is. And that's the path that we've been proceeding down since, and there's no doubt that's what I got.
Right. So, when was it about where you? We won't name any like any prescriptions that you might be on, but is it true that you are on a uh, experimental drug?
Yes, as a matter of fact, through my connection with the hospital there,
Uh,
they are able to get research grants
okay.
for these experimental drugs so they can evaluate their efficacy.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I'm taking like 3 of them.
Oh, 3 different ones?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been on those approximately? And how do you feel like they are working for you?
Well, I don't have an alternative, so I can't give a comparative
Right,
analysis. I don't know what's the natural progression of things
Okay.
and what might be caused by some other.
But you started seeing signs approximately 2.5 to 3 years ago.
It's not quite 2.5 now.
2.5. So yeah, I would say that you're doing somewhat better than the average bear, but that's just my personal opinion from what all I've seen.
Okay. I guess I don't really know anybody else that's got ALS,
Yeah, I don't.
so I can't compare.
Just from other videos that I've watched and whatnot, and the progression process, I would have, I just, I would conclude that you might just be doing a little bit better than average,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
Now I have, over the last few weeks, I have taken a bit of a downturn.
Okay.
A notable reduction in my motor skills and
Okay.
my speech.
Okay. But you did notice today when you woke up that you seemed to be doing a little bit better than yesterday.
Yeah, they put me to bed pretty early last night,
Okay.
and so I got maybe a little more rest. But my rest is going to sleep is a pretty fitful process because I don't. It's almost not like I watch a lot of late night TV
Okay.
and will doze off for like an hour or so
Right.
and then wake up and say, "Oh shoot, I missed my show."
Right. What show do you like to watch? The Tonight Show or?
No. Actually, there's a couple of channels that especially specialize in car related stuff
Okay.
that I enjoy watching.
Speaking of car related, why don't we touch base briefly on the 2 vehicles that you raced with the SCCA racing? Well, let's talk about when you started to race.
Oh goodness, that's a long story.
Well, just briefly about what year approximately you started to race.
Yeah, that's pretty hard for me to gauge.
Ballpark.
I would say it was probably, well, let's see, Dad was just out of high school.
And for the people, Dan is Mark's son, his only son, right?
Yeah, only son. And I kind of lost my track for a second.
Approximately when you started racing. Your own car, let's say that. When did you start?
I never raced my own car.
Okay, because what that says on the wall, it says 1999.
That was when Dan first started and he was doing autocross.
Okay.
Which is where they set up a race course outlined by cones.
Okay.
And you had to stay between these cones without hitting any.
Okay.
Hitting gave you a time penalty. And consequently, Dan was way better at that than I was.
Okay.
So I thought, well, shoot, if I do it, we're not going to have much success. Dan, on the other hand, was really pretty good. So we won or placed high in nearly every event he entered.
Oh wow! And that was practically in 1999-ish time zone, like that decade or that decade after.
Probably up to a year earlier than that.
Okay. So yeah. But you did race your own vehicles, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. The
It's
Nissan Datsuns,
yeah.
and now you had two Nissans, right?
Oh, I had more than that.
Okay.
Had let's see.
Well,
Really only two.
okay. So briefly, why don't you tell us?
Well, okay, that
two.
is two 510s.
Okay.
That's what we started racing at first.
Okay. But that was
The first national, as a matter of fact, it was a national championship. We raced our first 510 and nearly qualified on the pole for the national championship. It was between us and a little British sports car. Anyway, he ended up just nipping Dan for the top qualifying spot in the class. And Dan passed him on that first lap and went into a part of Road America they call the kink.
Uh-huh.
And right there, the faster cars in front of him that is, they were in another class, just crashed one after another. And there was no place for Dan to go. And so he went where there was an opening. Suddenly a car backed into that opening, and Dan ended up totaling the car.
Okay.
So that was the end of our first runoffs race.
Okay. And so that was Datsun though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Datsun, they were always called Datsun just in the American market. And they stopped even doing that a little bit later in, like 78, 79.
Okay.
Then they started calling everything Nissan.
Oh, okay. All right. So how long after did you get these cars then?
Okay.
Which I'll show at the end of the clip here. I'll show these two vehicles.
Our other 510, now that we raced in another runoffs race, but at that point, it was really not that competitive anymore.
Mm.
That is the car itself,
Mm.
to the rules. And we ended up going out on like the last lap because the fuse blew.
Oh, okay.
And so we ended up not finishing, in the top three, which is what really counts.
So was it mostly Dan racing, or did you race as well?
No, I stopped any pretense at being a good driver myself, and just devoted myself to being the crew chief and bottle washer.
Okay, so you just kind of helped build the cars.
Yeah, building them. I listened to input from Dan, but I normally did all that myself.
Right. So and then we'll touch base later on about how you where you used to work, and you used briefly just touch base on what you did for a living, so people understand that your mechanical aspect.
Well, I worked in engineering, primarily in the heat transfer industry.
Mm-hmm.
made radiators and oil coolers for almost everything, from Cat D10 dozers
Okay.
down to Oshkosh trucks.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we had contracts with the government for years and years and years on replacement coolers for things that were made by Oshkosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oshkosh wasn't very happy about that, but the government was, how should I say, very persuasive about what they were paying for parts.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, that's kind of all beside the point.
Right. So but you also said something about working with wind tunnels, or?
Oh, yes, and that's how we set up all our performance programming, is by evaluating the heat transfer performance in a wind tunnel.
Okay.
And eventually we tested everything in that wind tunnel, from oil coolers, radiators, intercoolers,
Mm-hmm.
all these things.
Right. So I'm gonna taper up this video because it's heading into about 16, 17 minutes, and I'm gonna show.
Okay.
I'm gonna show some quick clip of the cars that you used to build and race with your son. So, and now, is that your son in the image,
Yeah,
or?
that's the son in there. And in case you're wondering, Core is the company that Dan used to work for, and which was a contract engineering firm, and they gave us some money toward sponsorship.
Okay. So we'll end the video here, and we'll look forward to seeing how this video is, and maybe possibly make more.